All right, welcome back everyone for another deep dive. It's amazing how a single concept can sometimes completely shift your thinking. And today we're going to explore one of those potentially perspective altering ideas, and it's called the law of focus.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, we've got an excerpt here that really kind of boils it down.
Yeah.
Basically, it suggests that whatever we put our attention on, whatever we concentrate on, it actually expands in our minds.
Yeah.
Kind of a fascinating idea, right?
Yeah, I'm intrigued. What's the source for this? Like, where'd this idea come from?
So the source is actually, it's a collection of writings from various thinkers and philosophers. It's not attributed to any single author.
Yeah.
But it's been circulating online and in self-help circles for a while now.
Got it. Got it. So it's more of a concept that's kind of evolved over time.
Yeah, exactly. And our mission today is to kind of dissect this law of focus, see what it's all about, and maybe even, figure out how we can harness its power in our own lives.
I like it. A little mind hacking action.
Exactly. Now, the source we're looking at uses really clear language, which is always helpful. It states, and I'm quoting directly here, whatever you focus on expands in your mind. Straightforward, right?
Absolutely. It's simple, but it's powerful.
Right. But have you ever actually, stopped to consider how this plays out in your day-to-day life?
Oh, for sure. I mean, think about it. Think about the last time you were, I don't know, really stressed about something like a deadline at work, or maybe you lost something important.
Oh, yeah.
Did that worry just magically disappear?
No.
Or did it feel like it took over your thoughts?
It's like it multiplies.
Yeah.
You start obsessing over it, and suddenly it's all you can think about.
Exactly. And that's the law of focus in action, right?
Yeah, it's like if you're focusing on a problem, it's almost like you're giving it fertilizer, and you're helping it grow and grow until it's this massive, overwhelming thing in your mind.
It's like giving it steroids.
Okay, so we've established that whatever we focus on expands. But here's where it gets really interesting. Our source also draws a distinction between focusing on, well, you guessed it, problems, and focusing on solutions.
Okay, so which is better?
I think you know where this is going. It says, if you focus on problems, they grow. If you focus on solutions, they multiply.
Ooh, now we're talking. So it's not just about where we direct our attention, but the type of attention we're giving.
Exactly. And this is where, this is where things get a little bit more complex.
Complex in a good way. Or a scary way.
Maybe a little bit of both. You see, there's this thing called negativity bias.
And I've heard of that. Isn't that like when bad news sticks with you more than good news?
Yeah, it's basically this hardwired tendency in our brains to pay more attention to negative information.
To threats and dangers and potential problems.
Precisely. And, well, from an evolutionary standpoint, it kind of makes sense.
Right. I mean, back in the day when our ancestors were roaming around facing all sorts of dangers, being hyper aware of potential threats was probably pretty helpful for survival, right?
Yeah, like saber-toothed tigers and whatnot.
Exactly. But in today's world where we're not constantly dodging predators, this negativity bias, it can kind of backfire on us.
Big time. It's like our brains are still stuck in survival mode, even though the threats we face now are often, more psychological than physical.
Right, like deadlines and social media and all the pressures of modern life.
Ugh, don't get me started.
So, okay, back to the law of focus. So we've got this negativity bias that's kind of pulling us towards focusing on the bad stuff.
Yes.
And then we've got this law of focus that's saying whatever you focus on grows. So does that mean we're doomed? Or are we just going to end up in this endless spiral of negativity and problem magnification?
That's a good question, and I'm happy to report that no, we're not doomed.
Okay, good.
The law of focus, it suggests that we actually have a choice in this matter. We're not just passive victims of our brains.
So we can train our minds to shift away from problems and towards solutions instead.
Precisely. And this is where it gets really empowering. It's like building a mental muscle. The more you practice focusing on solutions, the stronger that mental muscle becomes and the easier it gets to redirect your attention away from the negativity.
So it's not about ignoring problems altogether, right? It's about approaching them with a different mindset, a solution-oriented mindset.
Exactly. And this is where we can start talking about practical strategies and things you can actually do to, flex that mental muscle.
Give me the goods. I'm all ears.
All right. Well, step one, it all starts with awareness.
Okay. So got to catch ourselves when we're slipping into that negative spiral.
Yeah. So next time you find yourself, obsessing over a problem, just pause for a second, take a breath and notice what you're doing.
Mindfulness, baby.
Exactly. And then once you're aware of that negativity bias pulling you in, consciously redirect your attention.
Okay. So how do we do that?
Well, There are a few techniques. One that I find really helpful is asking myself solution-oriented questions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, instead of dwelling on, why is this happening to me, or this is such a disaster, try asking yourself, what's one potential solution here?
Oh, I like that. It's like turning a problem into a puzzle.
Yes. Or, another question you could ask is, what's one resource I can tap into? Like maybe there's someone you can reach out to for help, or a book you can read, or a website you can consult.
Right, or even just like your own inner wisdom.
Exactly. And then another really powerful question is, what's one small step I can take right now? This one is great because it helps you break down a big, overwhelming problem into smaller, more manageable actions.
Okay, so it's about shifting our focus from the problem itself to the actions we can take to address it.
Precisely. And you know what? This reminds me of a study I read.
You mean with it?
They had two groups of people trying to solve a puzzle. One group was told to, focus on finding the solution.
Okay.
And the other group was told to focus on avoiding mistakes.
Ooh, interesting. So one group was solution-focused, and the other was problem-focused.
Exactly. And guess which group performed better?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say the solution-focused group.
Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner.
Yay, knew it.
Their minds were literally primed to look for possibilities, not dwell on potential pitfalls. It's pretty amazing, right?
Yeah, it's like our brains actually respond differently depending on what we tell them to focus on.
It really does seem that way. And it highlights this point, that the law of focus isn't just some, fluffy, abstract concept.
It's got real-world implications.
Oh, absolutely. It affects our behavior,
Yeah.
our performance, our overall well-being.
So if our minds are kind of like gardens, and we're constantly planting seeds with our attention, what are we choosing to cultivate?
Ooh, I like that.
Are we nurturing like a lush landscape of solutions, or are we allowing a thorny thicket of problems to take over?
Whoa, that's a powerful image. And the choice, really is ours.
Right. We can't always control what life throws at us, but we can control how we respond, where we choose to focus our energy.
This has been a really, really interesting deep dive for me. It's given me a whole new appreciation for the power of focus.
Yeah, me too. It's almost like a superpower we all have.
Right. It's just a matter of learning how to use it effectively.
And to remember that we have that power. We have the power to choose where we direct our attention, what we allow to expand in our minds.
And as we wrap up here, I'd like to leave you with a thought to ponder. If you could shine a spotlight on any area of your life right now, where would you direct that beam of attention? And what kind of growth would you like to see flourish there? Just something to think about as you go about your day.
Yeah, some food for thought.
Thanks for joining us for another deep dive. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.